What happens if you put all the all-time great comedic performances in one movie? In 2026, you can only wish to create something similar, but in 2008, Ben Stiller directed a movie that mocked racism, disability, actors' egos, and the industry itself. And for this, one of them even got an Oscar nomination. So whose idea was to give a green light to such an absurd movie? How does the film satirize actors' dedication to their roles? And how these three gentlemen exposed Hollywood? Tropic Thunder is a genius satirical movie made by one of Hollywood's most underrated individuals. And if you disagree, you'll get fucked.
I will massacre you! I will fuck you up!
Starting from hilarious characters, actors improvised lines, and ending with a ridiculous plot. You've gotta admit, it turned out to be a flavorful cocktail, but with a bite. Let's start with the characters.
I bet I could call up some of them greens. Yeah, noodle some crawfish out the patty, yo.
First and foremost, the highlight of this film is of course RDJ. 2008 was an outstanding year for him. First, Iron Man, and the launch of the MCU, which would bring him worldwide fame and acclaim from the audience. But then, Robert agreed to play Kirk Lazarus. He was hesitant to take the role in this film because he felt that wearing makeup to look like an African American was offensive. In the end, Downey agreed to the role because he liked the script and wanted to work with Ben Stiller and Jack Black.
Yeah, get him chugging on some of Alpha's ass water. That'll bring him around. It's a cure-all.
His character in this movie is the main source of memes, and accordingly, the funniest of all the characters. I don't know what got into Robert, but he played the satirical character as if it were a dramatic role for which he would be nominated for an Oscar. Yeah. He was nominated for this role. An American actor who played an Australian actor who darkened his skin for the war drama earned him his second Oscar nomination, and very much deserving.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
And as was his character in the film, Robert Downey Jr. is a method actor, and stayed in the character as Kirk even while the cameras weren't rolling.
To the man's credit, he's actually eased up on the retard data. And now that's added a balance, and the audience can connect.
Robert's comedic talent has really outshone other actors. And when I mean other actors, I mean Jack Black and Ben Stiller, the legends of the comedy genre. His role was probably the reason I watched Tropic Thunder. Didn't know my man Robert had it in him, and the fear that he had about offending someone turned out to be unfounded. Most people love his performance, especially the black community, because everyone knows that this is a satire on the so-called method acting rather than a joke about race.
Here's the thing, we fuck with Robert Downey Jr. Like, that's our guy.
Right.
Like, I did his birthday party, and my first joke was, how dare you take all of these roles from black people?
How can Robert say such iconic phrases and jokes, half of which are improvised? That's a real talent, and he really deserves all the praises. But we see complete satire in the film through the character of Ben Stiller. It is his character that completely loses his mind. He overplays situations, chooses bad roles, and failed with Simple Jack. He is a parody of an actor who wants deaf but does not understand what the deaf is. The film is a satire on Hollywood, and the main character is an actor who desperately tries to be serious. The film ridicules bad acting through a character who acts badly. A million compliments to Ben Stiller for playing Tuck so accurately. That's a double level of irony, perfectly balancing between genres. And Ben is a genius for that. He has found inspiration from everywhere. According to Ben, Tuck Speedman is partially based on young Sylvester Stallone. And he first came up with the idea for this film while working on The Empire of the Sun. He had said in interviews that at the time, he had friends who had acted in Platoon, a movie he had auditioned and been rejected for, and Hamburger Hill. And they would go on about this intense bootcamp preparation and simulation of war these projects involved, as well as how it made them feel like real soldiers. But Ben Stiller found this funny, because he thought being an actor in a war film was nothing like being a real soldier in a real war. So yeah, this film is definitely a satire on Hollywood.
Instead of 100 million, how about I send you a hobo's dick cheese?
Tom Cruise, the most unbelievable cameo of all time. Tom wanted to play Les Grossman so badly, like his career was on the line.
Do you mind, Ben? I want to play this character. I said I want to have fat hands and I want to dance.
My man was locked in for this one. Ben said nearly all aspects of the Les Grossman character were developed by Tom Cruise, including the dancing and the look of the makeup. Stiller said that in addition to the more obvious makeup effects applied to Cruise's face and head and the extra hair on his chest and arms, Cruise also decided to play the character wearing oversized prosthetic hands. Generational memes from this character.
No, we don't negotiate with terrorists.
For me, this one by far Tom's best performance. This movie mocks in almost every way. If you look closely, all the main characters are the archetypes from the real-life situations that actors encounter. A loser actor who wants to prove that he can An actor who goes too far to get an award.
For 400 years, that word has kept us down.
A singer who wants to be an actor.
Lance. Listen here, Lance. Lance.
And a drag addict ruined by fame.
I'll cradle the balls, stroke the shaft, work the pipe, and swallow the gravy.
Ben Stiller had everything planned out. As I said, the idea for this film came to him a long time ago. He had been developing ideas for this movie for about 8 to 10 years. One of his first ideas was that the movie was going to be about actors going to a fake boot camp for a couple of weeks and coming back with PTSD. While those colleagues of his attended boot camps, he found it ridiculous. And this was an early inspiration for what would become this movie. Not only was Robert afraid of negative reactions, but Ben also did his best. Several disability rights groups criticized the subplot Simple Jack. A film within the film in which Ben Stiller's character portrays a mentally disabled man. The scenes between Robert Downey Jr. and Stiller drew particular ire for their repeated use of the word retard. The producers shut down the Simple Jack website and offered to change the film in response to a special preview screening for disability groups. But they didn't change the film. According to co-writer Ethan Cohen, these scenes were intended to mock the emotionally exploitative portrayals of mental retardation in films such as Rain Man, Forrest Gump, as well as the actors who play these roles.
I don't read script, script reads me.
The mockery of the method acting was self-deprecating, because RDJ himself did not break character during filming. I want you to understand that this doesn't mean that all actors who use this method are idiots or crazy. Thanks to his technique, we have seen many legendary performances, and their love for creativity is boundless, but sometimes it crosses all boundaries, and it's precisely these cases that Tropic Thunder mocks. For example, did you know that Daniel Day-Lewis studied languages for months, or lived without electricity and running water, planted fields with 7th century tools, and built his character's house? Of course, Daniel is a bad example because he's a legendary actor and his performances are incredible. But sometimes with some actors, it goes too far.
What you getting at with the book script? Spit that shit out, man!
There's an obvious question. How come they didn't cancel a movie like that? It is simple. It was just a different time. It was the era of South Park, The Simpsons, and The Family Guy, and the peak of popularity of comedies such as Superbad and Borat. So Tropic Thunder was just part of the bigger group. Now there's no chance that studios will greenlight a project like that. The supporting cast of this film is also unbelievable. Jack Black, even though at first he didn't want to do this movie because he would have to color his hair blonde. Matthew McConaughey, who surprised Ben Stiller with how serious he was about his role. Here's what Ben said in an interview. He came at me with all these questions, like real questions about Rick Peck and where he was coming from and his relationship, and fought for his character throughout the whole process. And given the fact that Matthew replaced Owen Wilson, who had tried to attempt suicide and was recovering at that time, Matthew did a great job as well. And of course, Jay Baruchel and Brandon D. Jackson didn't fade into the background either, perfectly complementing the comedic scenes.
What do you mean, you people? Huh?
What I love about this movie is that it's a project that mocks Hollywood and big projects even though it's one itself. The cast is definitely cool in this movie, but they're paid accordingly. It's as if the film itself is saying, look how fake and absurd it all is, but at the same time, it is incredibly professionally made and very accurately reproduces what it mocks. It copies Hollywood so well that it becomes Hollywood itself. The result is a mishmash of everything absurd, and it works, because everyone, including the actors and Ben himself, is completely immersed in the project, and that is to Ben Stiller's credit. The legacy of the movie is unmatched. Tons of memes, phrases, and iconic scenes, unexpected performances from famous actors. All this added up to one of the most absurd comedies of the 21st century. The film became a symbol of Hollywood's bold past, but after it, studios became more cautious about expensive, harsh comedies. Because a big budget plus provocative humor equals high reputational risk, which studios don't want to deal with.
That bastard's got luck tattooed to his ace!
While making this video, I felt nostalgic about those bold comedies of the 90s and 2000s. When jokes were judged by how funny they were, but not by how offensive it is. American Pie, Superbad, Eurotrip, and tons of Adam Sandler movies. Watching those movies for the first time was quite the feeling. Maybe it's because we were young, I don't know. The joke is that there are still hilarious comedy movies being made, but nothing really sticks out like the old ones. That's the problem. You can watch a movie and it can be good, but after that, you just forget about it. And that's not how it's supposed to be. What do you think? Is it just nostalgia? Or have the quality and boldness of the comedy films disappeared? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this short video essay, you can subscribe to the channel. It really helps me to keep making videos like this and communicating with you through them. See you in the next video.